For most of us, life is a relentless exchange. We trade our finite, non-renewable hours for a paycheck, putting up with the friction and the stress because we believe it buys our way to a quiet, peaceful finish line. Make no mistake, poverty and financial insecurity cause severe, agonizing stress. But simply crossing that baseline of survival doesn't automatically grant you peace of mind. So we look up. We look to the absolute apex of the financial mountain, the world's wealthiest individuals, assuming that they must be living in a state of pure, uninterrupted bliss. But if we look closely at that summit, we have to ask a difficult question. Does hoarding the maximum amount of global capital actually yield the maximum amount of human joy? This chart maps the standard national divorce rate against the marriages of billionaires. As you can see, almost half of all billionaire marriages, 49%, end in divorce, shattering the illusion that limitless resources secure a stable home. Take the richest man on the planet, Elon Musk. He has publicly stated that his reality consists of terrible lows and unrelenting stress, even acknowledging the use of medication to help manage depression. That strain bleeds into the family tree. The moment his own daughter turned 18, she filed a court petition to sever all ties with him. All that capital could not engineer a functioning relationship, and he is far from an outlier. Look at Amazon's Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates, or Sergey Brin. The upper stratosphere of wealth is littered with fractured families and deep personal isolation. It creates a cruel paradox. The exact fortune they engineered to buy absolute freedom frequently becomes the very mechanism that isolates them from the human connection they were trying to secure. This simple line graph shows the core flaw of a standard job. Your income is rigidly locked to the hours you work. True wealth generation requires breaking that line using scalable solutions. Entrepreneurs build systems that solve massive problems for millions of people at once. Once the initial problem is solved and the system is built, it continuously generates value, operating 24 hours a day without requiring the founder's direct physical labor. The true psychological motivation behind building these systems is rarely to buy luxury goods. The goal is to buy back the only resource you can never recreate: your time. Decoupling your income from your physical presence removes the hard ceiling on your potential. In this model, you are no longer selling your life in 60-minute increments. You are harvesting the output of a system that functions independently of your pulse. But an insidious shift happens when someone crosses the line of financial freedom. The pursuit of security mutates into a compulsion for more. It becomes an endless golden labyrinth where the only objective is to keep climbing. When your net worth reaches 10 or 11 figures, the power dynamic in every room changes. Therapists working with the ultra-wealthy report a recurring pattern of severe trust issues, an environment where the individual begins to suspect that every new friend or romantic partner is actually pitching a deal or seeking a windfall. As the net worth swells, the ego inflates to match it. That manufactured self-image requires constant, exhausting maintenance, driving the individual deeper into a highly protected, deeply isolated echo chamber. We see the lethal extremes of this isolation in beloved, wildly successful icons like Robin Williams. The fame and the capital provided absolutely no shield against severe, hidden internal pain. Past a specific threshold, the relentless accumulation of wealth actively destroys the very friction, vulnerability, and human connection that make a life worth living. The mountaintop turns into a prison. Strip away the luxury marketing, and money reveals its true form. It is literally just a digital integer compounding on a cold server screen, completely devoid of any inherent soul or warmth. A palliative care nurse named Bronnie Ware spent years sitting with terminally ill patients, documenting their greatest regrets during the final weeks of their lives. Out of all those dying individuals looking back on their entire existence, not a single person regretted failing to earn more money or missing out on a higher net worth. The absolute clarity of mortality exposes a harsh truth. Trading your authentic relationships and your limited days on Earth for excess capital is a terrible losing transaction. We often define the rat race by the exhausted laborer, but the cycle extends all the way to the isolated billionaire. Both the struggle for the next meal and the addiction to the next billion are driven by the same restless relationship with a number. This bill curve maps wealth against overall human happiness. Notice that it isn't a straight line upward. There is a distinct midpoint, an optimal zone where you have exactly enough to secure your peace and freedom, right before the toxic excess begins to erode it. True wealth is taking the time you bought back through financial optimization and intentionally spending it on the people and the purpose that actually give your life weight. Capital is just a tool. It can unbolt your cage, or it can build a much stronger one. The difference relies entirely on having the wisdom to recognize when you finally have